Alright, so let's finish up aquatic biomes real quick, and then it'll give me a few minutes to kind of talk about the assignment that I am assigning you guys related to this. Alright, so this top picture is representing lakes and the different zones in lakes. Okay, so you can see that we do have some rooted plants near the shore of the lake. Okay, and this is what we call the littoral zone. So the littoral zone is the shallow area near the shore. And it is nutrient rich. It has to be because there are aquatic plants rooted there. Okay. Now, when we get further away from the shore, so in more of the open area of the lake, this is going to be called the Lymnetic Zone. The Lymnetic Zone is open water. So open H2O. And this is where we find the phytoplankton. Remember the plant-based plankton, okay? All right. The next zone from that is called the Benthic Zone. So the Benthic Zone is the muddy bottom. And you do have a lot of organisms that hang out here. Catfish is kind of like a trash fish. They basically will eat whatever. I do like to eat catfish though, so don't judge me. Alright, so we have then the Profundal Zone, and if you look at the picture, guys, you can see that it is dark. There is no sunlight here, which means there are no producers, there's no plants. So, the Benthic Zone, no sunlight, no producers. Okay. Now I'm going to scoot down here to the ocean. So the ocean light zones. There are 3 ocean light zones categorized on how much sunlight they have. Meaning how much sunlight is able to penetrate through that region of water. Okay. So the first one we have is what we call the Euthonic Zone. So photic means photosynthesis, sunlight. Okay, so the Euthonic Zone, as you can see, is pretty shallow when you compare it to the other 2 zones. So this is the layer where there is sufficient sunlight for photosynthesis. So this is the photosynthesis layer because it receives plenty of sunlight. All right, so then the deeper we go, we move to the what we call the Dysphotic Zone. There's not a lot of sunlight here. There's just a little bit. But again, it depends on how many sediments, how much algae is in the water, and how much of that sunlight is going to be blocked. So we say this lacks sufficient sunlight for photosynthesis. Okay. Now, down here in the Aphotic Zone, there is nothing. This is where you have pitch black, cold water that has a lot of pressure in it. So obviously there is not going to be any photosynthesis happening here. But we do have a challenge here because there are organisms that still need those things produced from photosynthesis. So a lot of bacteria specifically that live in these levels have evolved to another process called chemo synthesis. It allows the bacteria to kind of go through the similar process of photosynthesis, obviously without sunlight, but it uses methane as its main energy source instead of the sun. Okay, so Down here we have, in the Aphotic Zone, Chemo Synthesis. Okay, so microbes use methane. Remember that methane is CH4 from the carbon cycle. They use methane, there should be E there, guys, sorry, as its energy source. So you can see these organisms have to have alternative ways to produce energy if sunlight isn't available. Okay, so I'm going to scroll back up here real quick, and I know we just talked about this. So the assignment that I have uploaded for you to complete this week over this particular section of notes is to create kind of a real estate flyer based on one of the aquatic ecosystems. So let's say you are a real estate agent. Okay, so you like to sell houses or land. How would you market for someone to buy a swamp? Okay, how would you market for someone to buy an estuary? So I already have the format laid out for you, so you guys just have to plug in the information. So I hope that you learned some interesting facts from this set of notes, and I will see you in the next section.